Good morning, Mazuran.
No.
My name is George Peta.
Hi, George.
Mama Boda and those that surround you. You just help me now because this venue looks so big once you step. But once people start laughing, then it helps a lot. Yes, I feel like everything has been covered. People finished the words here. I feel like I already presented. I just hope I'll remember everything that I would have to say here because I feel like I already spoken. But I'll give you the good news. I mean, what my peers said here is true, unfortunately. They are not exaggerating or trying to make it seem like it's only for certain people. There are those phases that you go through as part of the career journey, whether you're studying or it's business. It's really hard and it will require dedication and consistency together with the right habits that they mentioned. So yeah, from my part, I will give you my journey as well, but I just want to highlight two things, which is one is education and the other part is business. It relates to what my peers already said. I won't go much into detail about business. We know that for one to be employed, it means somebody had to be the employer, had to make the business. So it's very important. As much as we're looking at education, the business part is very important. I'm also guilty for not having a business by this date. But so when I look at the education, I just want to clear a few things because there's a lot said about the education. One of them, people sometimes say education is not important. You can just be a millionaire, open a business, and you're successful without that education. And they use guys like Bill Gates and Mr. Godier. They say they didn't graduate, therefore education is not important. But you can hear that clearly, that graduation and education are not exactly the same thing. Mr. Godier's got metric, and he went as far to the college, as he mentioned, and he's able to operate. Same as Bill Gates, he didn't just come from the farms and say, there's this IT thing, you can just go and open Microsoft and then do Windows and then you are a billionaire. He dropped out halfway, almost done with his tertiary level education. So education is very important. It has enabled Bill Gates to do what he's doing today. And say, Mr. Godi, you are educated. So yeah, as part of my journey, it wasn't as difficult as it is with Miss Mamabola. But what I've learned and found very important is that in life you need to identify important people. They could be mentors, friends, but those that give you the right influence, courage, even on things that you think you cannot do. Because to me, my biggest problem when I grew up was confidence. I never had confidence. I had to learn it. I wouldn't even speak in front of people like this. And also at school, I never actually battled from primary to matric. But also I wasn't a star, I wasn't a guy shy. You didn't know where this guy says, you just know that he's gonna pass him and get to the end. But when I was doing matric, there's one teacher that came to me and said, you have got potential and you are not aware. I said, no, you can't say that about me. There's this guy and that guy. He said, no, forget about those people. You are. I kept on refusing, but I pushed so hard on his subject, and he proved it, because until towards the end of the year, I realized that, yeah, I'm the master on this thing. He even came to see my parents at the end of matric and say, this guy has got potential, please don't let him. You get what I'm saying? I really appreciated that, because he actually shut that out of me. I wouldn't even know. So that's one thing that I identified at the early age, and I've had lots of people like that until today that always directed me. So I finished at matric, I got accepted, but one thing, because remember what I'm trying to do here is to guide the young ones. There's things that happens now when you get to that point where you have to decide on the career path. for my side, in class metric, when they ask what you want to be, there's lots of this fancy careers that guys mention. You always want to say something to suit. And people say doctor, some say engineer, some say all of these things. You don't want to say something that's really, people are going to ask, what is this and what is it about? Are you going to be a mechanic? I'm a mechanical guy today, but I never had that confidence to raise up a hand and say I want to be a mechanical engineer in military, because people were thinking of overalls and oils and things like that. So unfortunately, even though I didn't want to say it, was in my heart. And my family also understood that this guy, the way he plays, this is where he should end up. And I applied for 2 courses. So in class I always said I wanted to be a quantity surveyor because that sounded very fancy. But my sister, my family was watching all of these things. When I applied in January with the University of Johannesburg, I went there with my sister. She helped me, and then after I went outside, and we said, "Sharp, let's just go and check when will they give us feedback." So I had quantity surveyors choice number 1, and then mechanical as 2. My sister went in there and she thought, this guy doesn't even understand what this quantity survey is. She swapped there too, and she didn't tell me, but that was actually a good thing. And I only knew later when they called me and said, "You are accepted for mechanical," and I'm like, this thing doesn't make sense. She said, "Yeah, swap this thing, because you don't know what this quantity survey is." And I always tell my nephew now that your mother did this to me. But what's important there is doing something that you should be doing and that you can do. Don't just choose the career because of those fancy names. They understood how I grew up, and they knew that mechanical is the right thing for me. And I mean, I'm not there yet, I haven't made it, but I think there's no doubt that it is the right path for me. But where things really got interesting is once the family now left, now it's me and the course. Things really became so hard. It went to exactly what she said, because we started the classes in Feb, and then in April is Good Friday, we need to go home and visit parents. And I went home, I said, I'm not going back. And my mother asked softly, because she knew that when I say something, it's very unlikely that I can change and go back. She tried to understand. I said, whatever I took is too much for me, it's too big for me, and I think I need to drop everything, go and review this whole thing and think about my career differently. She said, no, you're going back. You will make it, believe me. Because by then I failed everything that I had to write in that first term of the semester. And yeah, it happened that I woke up differently, she said. Decide to go, and again, those important people in your life. There is a guy that was my friend. He told me that, George, your problem is that you never had to study hard in your life. And you think you can just sleep at 9. At 10 during the day, you sleep at 11 and you write these things. No, it doesn't work like that. Fortunately, because for him, he stayed at the school when he was doing matric, so they used to cross night. He was used to those things. So from that day, I never stayed at rest. I crossed night, came back at 4 and all of that. And I was managed to actually do better than my friend who was in this whole thing. And unbelievable, that semester, things didn't go wrong. I came back to my mother and said I passed, and from there I was the master of that thing again until I complete, and I'm still enrolled again this year after 3 people actually decided that I need to go back to school. It's really hard, guys. Those 3 people, it's my daughter, my wife, and my employer. So it happens that normally my wife helps my daughter with the homeworks. Few times I do homeworks with her, but when she's away I don't have a choice. I'm the one who helps with homeworks. And then, it happened that it's kind of a homework that they wanted the parents to write something and then the kids have to copy to their book. Unfortunately, she couldn't see my handwriting at all. She cried so hard to the mother that this guy must go back to the school because whatever they taught him, they didn't teach him properly. He cannot write. She cried. It was serious. I took note of that, and when I go to work, I knew that for the last 3 years they've been saying to me, you need to go to school and study again. I said, I can't do the kind of work I'm doing with education at the same time. At the same time, my wife is far more educated than I do, and I ended up saying, you know what, and I will do it. Yeah, so the reality is it requires that dedication. You need to push so hard. I just finished dangerous exams this week. Now, when I woke up this morning, I felt that, something was removed from my shoulders. But the reality is the load has been removed, but I also feel that the strength is also God. Because when God gives you a task, He also gives you the strength to do. The strength that I had in the last 3 weeks was so amazing. I couldn't believe that. I mean, Mr. Mama, when you contacted me 2 days ago for about that, I just didn't want to mention it that I slept for 2 days just to recover of the rest of the weeks. Yeah, but very important, career choice is very, very important to matriculants. Make sure you choose the right career and you make time for it. Carry on with the right habits. If you always do things this way, don't think that in the last minute you'll be able to do them differently. Those habits will show up and it won't go well. Thank you.